right, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call. Lori,
Joshua?
Elizabeth, and Matt.
Here.
And then Megan is not going to be able to attend, and we'll see if Maya joins. Okay. All right, so the first order of business is our vendor review based on the responses we got from our questionnaires. So if I have everything correctly, we had 6 or 7 responses. And I did, Rocky has printed out the questionnaire responses for us so that we can refer to them. And then everybody got a copy of this spreadsheet that I did this morning that is kind of a summary of the 6 questions. So I thought we would just start at the top and kind of go through, we don't necessarily have to go through the answers because everybody should have read them before the meeting, but I would like to hear everyone's comments as we go through each of them, and we'll take those notes down, and then we can decide if we want to go forward for round 2 with that vendor or not. So
could I ask a few questions before we jump into that? That it might help frame it a little bit. One question is, what is the statewide pricing agreement? What does that mean?
Rocky, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, the statewide price agreement is it's a group of vendors that have gone through a process to be qualified on the state from the state, organized by the state. And when they're on state contract, we can choose them for purchases without going to competitive bids.
Okay. Thank you.
The state performs the RFP process for us.
Okay,
They've already done that.
okay.
Gotcha.
Next question, Matt.
My next question, I just thought it might save us a little time if anybody had opinions about how to trade off some of these different dimensions. So, before we get into the specifics of it, do people feel like the turnaround time is extraordinarily important, or do they feel like, experience in high mountain should be the number one consideration? Whatever, it might help if we just kind of get a sense of what people think is the more important factors.
So I would say, if you're asking for our opinions, I would say that experience matters. With there's a lot of detail that we don't have yet that will come into play for the final vendor selection, but I would say experience matters, and the number of years they've been in business. And the turnaround time would be very important. Delivery, yes. Anyone else? Lori, thoughts on?
I guess energy efficiency. I think that if they're built really cheaply, they're just going to fall apart. They're going to be, a drain on the utilities and everything.
Yeah, we don't quite have those details yet, but I agree.
Yeah.
Josh?
Turnaround time is gonna be the biggest.
Yeah, okay. Any other, Matt?
I think that's helpful for me. Josh or other builders, I'd be curious if you think that building in this environment at 8,000 feet is that a critical factor? Because a few of these, it looks like they haven't necessarily built in this type of environment.
Correct.
I think it would weigh, yeah.
Yes, sir. It's gonna definitely weigh in to that.
Let's note that Maya has joined. I'm not sure who Timothy's iPhone is, but at this point, everybody else would be on mute anyway. So, but if you could note that Maya has joined us. Maya, do you have any? I'm sorry, Lori, do you have any questions? You were asking Rocky something?
I didn't see that any of them had state.
No.
No, there was only one that was on CES. which
Okay, I
is
guess I.
similar to the state price agreement.
Okay, all right, that's, when we get to, I didn't see that. so when we-
Sustainability partner is on state.
Right,
Yeah.
right, okay. Maya, any questions? You might be on mute.
It looks like it says it's still connecting to audio, so she may be
Oh, okay.
attempting to join still.
Josh, do you have any pre-start questions or?
No.
Okay,
But the one vendor that was on CES price agreement was Modular Solutions, but they were purely custom builders.
I don't think I have them on here. I don't recall getting,
Because it just came in, and that's why
Okay.
it's on this list, it's on the.
okay, we'll have to take a look at that one then, okay. All right, so with that being, let's get started with JW Homes and Built Wise of New Mexico. I don't want to always be the person who provides comments first, so we'll start with you, Josh, first.
I mean, they are in New Mexico and they have built in New Mexico, and their turnaround time's pretty good.
Mhm. Lori?
Their square footage was pretty large, wasn't it?
They had, so there were two documents that they sent. The first document that had like two, I thought the footprint was pretty big. I agree with you that it was,
Much bigger.
it seems like bigger, but they did have some small ones, in a different attachment. And I wrote a couple of those down. There was like a Masita for 1-1 and a Sedona, although we're not choosing the format, but I think it's important to know what they have available. I did think that some of those had good design layouts and their time delivery seemed to be decent. Their prices were a little bit higher per square
Yeah.
foot, I
I
thought.
thought they were high.
Yeah, and I had said some have a larger footprint. Matt, did you have a thought or? No?
Something to add that you guys haven't already hit.
Okay. Mike?
I like the way they worded their proposal and stuff. It looked good.
Maya, any thoughts on that one?
No, nothing that you haven't already said.
So, yeah, on this one, I didn't actually put a check mark next to it. I wanted to, because of the high square footage, but I'm, if we wanted to, we can come back to that if you want, or if anybody thought that they were excited about this one, I'd be happy to, we can think about moving forward with them and letting them give us a deeper dive proposal.
And my only thing was they're out of Colorado, and I mean, their lead time's long.
You mean Roswell? We're still in number one. That's okay.
Sorry.
I mean, if we think, does anybody have any specific thoughts about this first one?
I mean, I like them.
Okay. So that might be one that we can't go forward with all of them, but, okay, so the next one, Fading West. Lori, do you want to start with that one?
Let me pull it up, sorry.
Okay.
Now go ahead and start with that one.
Okay, I mean, I can start. So the couple of things that I did like about this one is they have built in mountain towns before. They're out of Buena Vista, Colorado. The square foot price is good, but the 9 months is a longer lead time. And I was thinking, and I do like the style of their houses. They have some 2 stories, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. But what I was concerned about is, if we're looking to get some houses in for 2025, this may not be the right vendor to go with for the first subset of houses. It may be good to look at as a long-term person, but, and they have done a lot of projects where they have done, a large number of units, which I like that as well. So to me, I feel like they have good experience and they've been in business for 9 years. And they have a narrow footprint. What? Somebody
Is not muted.
Somebody's not muted, except, I mean, it's okay. So that was my thoughts. Matt?
The only thing I'd add to that is that it's a little hard to compare these because the Fading West says our typical lead time is approximately 9 months, including design approval and construction.
Yeah.
Whereas the previous one, it's a shorter timeline, but that says after design, once it's through design and approval. So they could very well actually be comparable.
Mhm. True. Yeah, and when you read through this person's comments about they completed 18 units, in, I think it was, I don't remember how long, and then they did some that they did a 32 apartment units in like 13 months. So, or no, 3 months, I'm sorry. So, I felt like they were good. I would be interested to hear what they have to say. Yes?
The only thing you might want to do if you see a vendor that you really like and the turn time is too long is see if you can buy it down. Some vendors will do that. You pay money and they'll put you ahead of the prior commitments.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that causes us to be priced out of them, but if you really like somebody, it might be worth asking.
Well, I'm not familiar with what sustainability, I think sustainability got it down. I don't know what the square footage per square foot was, but I mean, it didn't sound terrible compared to what I hear about in this mountain town, but, I think those numbers would come as we do the next round when they actually propose, here's what we can do. Do you agree with that, Jake?
I think so. Keep in mind, we went to them with general questions.
Mm-hmm,
The next round is gonna be far more specific.
mm-hmm,
Number of units around the 30 mark. We're gonna wanna see their 3 bedrooms versus their 2 bedrooms to get a sense of if there's enough cost savings to be there. And keep in mind, I know it's not like we're necessarily eliminating all of these vendors forever and ever, amen. This is phase 1 of
Mhm.
workforce housing. And with 30 units, based on the surveys that you all seen, there's no way that satisfies the total need. So some of these I think should be considered for phase 2 or phase 3.
mm-hmm.
But phase 1 is really aimed at how do I get C of Os in 2025?
Right. So, I mean, with that said, and the fact that they have a 9-month turnaround, I appreciate them, being honest about that. It may be, like I said, it won't be I don't think it will make sense for at least for the first 10, maybe the next 20, but at least for this, I'm sure that, might be good to put them on the back burner.
Yes.
But I did like the style of their homes. They look like some that we build here, close, but so. All right, any other thoughts on this guy? Lori, did you have any? No? Maya or anybody?
I like that they're
Okay,
familiar with building in Colorado, so similar. Weather.
Yes,
yeah,
and it's not a flat roof either.
right,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's something
that
to
was
think about.
right. Okay, edifice. My thoughts on edifice was, I only saw in their documentation, like 2 3D models. I didn't care for the floor plan. The prices seem good. So, well, I don't know, they're kind of okay. And, they did have a skinny footprint, but I didn't care for those. So I'd like to hear what everybody else has to say. So,
They're a new company. They've only been practicing a year, which can be good and bad because they want to build their business so they can be more,
mhm.
but at the same time, you might get into it and get stuck. Lack of
I mean, I wasn't super impressed with anything in those.
Maya?
Yeah, I don't like the short time in business, and I didn't like the floor plans either.
And Matt?
I'm mostly just trying to type and get everybody else's comment in, but yeah, I think I don't have any strong opinions that are outside of what you guys are saying.
Okay. All right, so I think that one, I think we could move on from. The next one is Hive 3D Builders. They've been in business for 4 years. I didn't see a location provided. You want to start, Josh, on this one?
I mean, they're new, but
Are they gonna have to do the concrete 3D building here?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know about 3D building.
Yeah, I was concerned about the printing on site, and it seems experimental in our environment. I didn't see, the only project that I seemed to find even on their website was, there was one in La Mesa maybe, or
I think they might have
Marfa, I
a
forget.
project in Austin where they did the house.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say definitely not on the 3D.
Yeah, I was a no on this one as well.
Yeah.
Anybody love this one or want to move forward with this one? No?
I guess if you're doing concrete, aren't we on a limited amount of months so you can actually do concrete if you're gonna, with the weather? Because I'm asking us if,
Not really. We can be, and this year we can pour concrete anytime. And we're pouring concrete every day.
yeah, but this year's not.
I mean, this year, we're shooting for the end of 25. We can pour all the concrete we need to,
So does it normally limit though?
kind of, sometimes.
Seems like this would be something you could
It
do.
limits being able to break the ground freezes, the concrete can
Yeah.
cure, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But, you know, it's I mean, it was very unique. I mean, I would love to see it in person. I just don't know that it's gonna work for here, so. I'm sure it has some really good applications. Just not for here, so. All right. Zachary with Clayton Homes. Laura, you start this time. Sorry to put y'all on the spot, but.
Do it.
I think I thought they were one of the better contenders.
Mhm.
I guess them and Champion. And they do have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as phase one, I mean, they could probably definitely knock it out.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I think what I like about them too is they look like homes. And I thought they had good prices, they have a good amount of experience. The sustainability partners had provided, they provided some Energy Star kind of stuff. And, sustainability partners thought it would be good for us to consider. Their timing seems good but I would like to see some more exterior views. We saw one, but then what we got were these and where's this kind of stuff. And so I'd like to see, oh, that is not, I mean, no, that's not that. I'd like to see more of their exterior, but I think we could see that as part of the next round. Yeah, so, Matt?
I think that's great. I think they're a strong contender. There definitely makes sense to ask them a few more questions like exterior views.
Okay. Oh, and Maya, what do you think?
Yeah, they were probably my favorite.
Okay, good. Okay. And then we have Champion Solutions, which I believe this was the one that was originally, this was maybe like the initial, take a look at for sustainability partners.
It was, this was the initial vendor we used, based on their recent project up in Salida.
Okay,
So they were kind of in the initial review from sustainability partners, though it's not the only one we could use from them, so.
yeah, I only saw one floor plan from sustainability. It kind of looked like a mobile home, no problem with that, other than it's just a preference for something to look a bit more like a home, you know, a regular stick-built home, but I know our footprint may require us or may be better suited for kind of this style of homes. Yeah, so I'd like to see more of those, but I think They had some that were, I mean, it is a little bit wider. 28 foot wide or 32 foot wide, so I don't know, we'll have to see how that. Kind of fits in with how many you could do, go ahead, Rocky.
No, I do have, the footprint to show you. It'll explain the sizes of the
Okay.
footprints. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thoughts from Josh
I mean, I'm more in favor of Clayton than.
and Champion?
Yeah.
than Champion, yes, ma'am.
Does it, Matt and Maya, thoughts there?
I didn't see anything that would make me say that they should be out of contention. If we, it might make sense if we're trying to narrow it down to a set of vendors that we want to ask further questions of, it might make sense to keep them in.
Keep them in, yeah.
And if we're going with sustainability partners and they're used to working with them, that's
Yeah.
a benefit.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's valuable.
And talking to, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Maya.
Yeah, I was just agreeing that that relationship is valuable, but that I do lean more towards the Clayton.
Okay. So this one, but we feel like it's not maybe necessarily the favorite, but it's still one that would be in contention that I think okay. All right, I agree with that. I had a question mark and I was kind of there, but, I agree with that. Did you want to say something?
Well, I just want to say that I had a discussion with Ryan with the Sustainability Partners. And he sent the e-build series that I sent to you.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason he sent that to me was in looking at his analysis, he felt like they were lower cost, higher efficiency, more energy efficient, and they had more options for durable products. And he felt like that was important, especially if we were going to allow pets
Mm-hmm.
in the homes.
So that's-
So
That's Clayton or Champion?
Clayton.
Clayton, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought too, okay. Okay,
Either one was good.
okay. And modular solutions, you said we have, I don't have it on this little spreadsheet, but we have it in here,
It was the first one on your stack, I think.
Built-wise structures.
No, modular solutions.
I have Built-wise. Built-wise, Clayton,
Looks like this.
and Fading West. I thought it was pretty cool. Fading West has all their, many of their floor plans are named after Colorado 14ers. What is this one? That's the, okay. Oh, here it is, modular solutions, okay. Oh, and they have some decent. Okay. So let's see. They've been in business since 1966, 1996, sorry. They have a procurement number. That's the one you said they have, that CES New Mexico,
Correct.
okay?
Sorry, Elizabeth, for the notes, what's the name?
Modular Solutions Limited. Out of Phoenix.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Says they have a CES number, which I think you kind of explained that already, but if you needed to explain it again, we're happy to. Okay. They've done site work, they've done work for 20 housing units in a rural area with harsh weather conditions. They have a mix of units. Well, that sounds decent. Huh?
Oh, okay, sorry. As little as 30 days delivery,
Where do you see that at? I didn't see that.
under number 5.
Okay. From approved plans. 12-month lead time due to electrical component shortages. Would that be an issue here?
The only issue is gonna be the transformer, it's actually in the subdivision. That would be the biggest electrical issue that I ever seen.
So in that, and we don't, but there's not one right there now.
No, that's the issue. But as far as these houses are concerned, I don't think.
Okay. And it looks like they have some skinny options as well as larger footprint options based on their floor plans, so that's good. I mean, they look like they have some decent options. My question would be, coming out of Phoenix, you know, would that be? Yeah, I don't know.
Athens, Texas.
Well, that's true.
Other conditions could be harsh because it's 118, or it could be harsh because they're up in Flag and it's really cold or something like that, but
That's true.
we might want to, I guess if we were interested in that, they might be in the same category of we want to do a little bit more.
So I'm thinking that, okay, so if we go back, before we make, this, you know, I would suspect that a good number to get to would be 3 options. Is that what we're shooting for, you think?
Well, one thing to keep in mind is some of these have already been previously vetted by sustainability partners. Any that we recommend that have not been, they will require their own internal vetting process. So
Okay,
yeah, I wouldn't send them 6, just and
right,
have them vet them all. We want to tailor this down to what our top concerns are. And while footprints are important for a living area, the other thing, because of our location, some of these vendors that have the skinnier width units that are single piece are likely gonna have a pretty big advantage in delivery cost to get up here.
right,
Whereas some of the wider shipped in 2-piece units have to be assembled on site. I'm not saying those should be eliminated, but in the all-in cost comparison, I think that's the next step that we need to get to, is give them some type of a rough set of parameters to respond to,
right.
and then see where the delivery, the lead time and the pricing shakes out from a group that's, again, 2, 3, probably at the most.
Okay, so I think everybody's agreed upon Clayton Homes. They've already been. So Clayton would be one, I think we would go forward, and then it seems like sustainability has already done some vetting with them. And they're out of Albuquerque, which is really nice. Champion Homes, which we know has already been vetted, even though it may not be our biggest choice, so that's 2. So we talked about Fading West, which decided was maybe too long of a lead time. That would be a future phase. Okay,
Yes,
Yeah,
and Edifice and Hive are out.
yes.
All right, so then the question would be JW Homes out of Roswell and Modular Solutions out of Phoenix.
I think we can keep all 4.
Okay,
Yes, I agree. And I mean, I think the Fading West could definitely be phase 2.
okay. The fact that this modular homes does have the CES, I think that would give them 2 more to vet, and I wonder how much their vetting time would be. Do we have any idea?
It is several weeks. They actually go out and do site inspections. So that's not a months-long process, but I would anticipate weeks for sustainability partners to go through the vetting process with them. And I think we could ultimately have them come back and present to this committee. If, for instance, let's say they get a few days in and they figure out, oh, we told them 30 units of this size and their lead time went to 16 months. Well, if we give them that direction, you know, okay, consider that for phase 2, but for phase 1, move on. They may find something in their vetting process that they decide is a deal breaker for this project.
So I think JW Homes, especially when you're talking about them needing to do site visits, would make more sense because it's close. I'm not saying I want to eliminate the last one, but I'm wondering if it's the modular solutions is more of a phase two, or if do we still want to include them? I want to hear from everyone on whether we think we should include them in the vetting for this phase one. Lori says yes. Okay, Josh?
I mean, I like them, I like
Okay,
that offer.
Maya?
Yes.
Okay, and Matt?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, so then let's include, so we'll move on with those for,
So I make sure I have the notes correct. Can you read me the 4?
Clayton Homes, Champion Homes, JW Homes, which is out of Roswell, and Modular Solutions Limited.
Okay, and not Fading West. Okay.
Not Fading West for this one, not Edifice, not Hive. All right,
Well, Fading West though, I mean, that's 9 months with the design time too. I mean, if we, it's only other thing, cause like JW Homes, I'm pretty sure it's after planning and design. That's 90 days after.
yeah,
So does it take them 3 months to plan and design it?
I don't know. That will be the next question.
Because planning and design, I mean, depending on
Well,
what
and
systems could take.
we could have Fading West as either, as a backup, but I don't want to give 5 out of 7 to him I think, so. I do like them, there's no doubt, but
Yeah.
if it's if it truly is turnaround time 9 months, we're not gonna get homes in 2025. So,
Yeah.
and that JW Homes, I didn't understand, when they talk about design and engineering and state approval, if they're truly modular, they had some floor plans already in place, so it doesn't feel like the design would be a big turnaround, so. I don't know, we'll have to,
Yeah.
okay. So we're okay with leaving Fading West space? Okay, all right, okay. All right, so that's where we go. And then the next thing on the agenda is to discuss what round 2 means, so let's talk about that. So Rocky had sent us an email, he had talked to Julie? Our RFP lady? Yes, okay. I'm sorry, what was her name?
Coolin.
Coolin, yes. And she had made some recommendations that we come up, maybe we don't do round 2 questionnaire, but we went straight to some kind of proposal process. You want to
Yeah,
explain that
okay.
better?
Well, for round 2, we might have to do that, but if we're talking about round 1, we're not talking about an RFP or an RFI at this point. For round 1,
Right, well, that was round 1.
yeah,
So now for round
for round
2,
2, could be that. We don't know if sustainability partners would partner with us again for round 2.
I'm sorry, I think you're getting
I guess we're
confused on
confusing.
phase 2
Yeah.
versus round 2.
Questionnaire.
yeah,
two.
round 2,
Oh,
round 2.
Yes.
I was wondering. about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. So the phase 2 questions, I think we should narrow down on quality. And of course, delivery, that would be the number 1.
Okay,
But there's a lot of things that we could look at, and when I was looking at it individually, I mean, as far as energy efficiency and snow load and all that, there's a lot of detail that we probably don't have enough experience to outline
mhm,
and expect good results.
right,
So I looked at the regulation and licensing at .nm.gov that had a CID link, Construction Industries Department,
mhm,
and they had a modular home specification sheet.
And it was
It was RLD.nm.gov, regulation and licensing. CID is the Construction
Yes, sir.
Industry Division. They have a modular home a specification sheet, which would be a great start for our vendors to comply with, along with OPEX County snow load and wind load specifications.
yes.
So I think if we reference those and they're in compliance with these and they share with us how they're compliant or they're not, that would be a good start
Yes,
for
sir.
looking at the quality.
Okay.
We could get into some specifics about durability of products that they would use. And maybe,
Like,
heating, heating
right,
thing, we may want them to have propane heat for the cold here. Appliances, that kind of thing. Do we want stainless steel? We can get into some of those things when we're looking at that second questionnaire, phase of questions. But originally, Julie had mentioned an RFI, but being that we have sustainability partners that is already a state contract, already willing to provide the financing for us. It's probably not necessary.
okay. I wonder if Sustainability Partners has something that we can use for round two vetting. In terms of, I agree with the things about the quality and the heating but like, I'm no builder, so I would just be asking questions that people have come up with. The delivery routes, things like that would be important. We've talked about whether they need foundations or not, the concrete foundations.
Good.
Yeah.
And so the sustainability partners had offered to provide a list
Mm-hmm.
that we could follow and maybe combine it with our list.
Yes.
And
Okay.
then maybe have them, have a discussion with them.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Participate in our meeting and.
Instead of just trying to reinvent
Right.
it from the
and then you go-
beginning.
You go
Yes.
through our combined lists
Mhm.
and talk about, why they expect this, why we asked for this or whatever, and they probably offer some wisdom
Mhm.
on, on narrowing down.
Yeah, it'd be good,
questions.
it'd be good to get the
Their
sustainability
perspective.
partners list and then the CID list as well and compare the two, because we gotta make the state happy.
So one thing to consider, going through sustainability partners, just understand what that looks like. Essentially, they would be purchasing the units
Mhm.
and owning those units until such time as they had been paid for, whatever term of lease agreement we work on with them. They would also be responsible for the maintenance, the upkeep, they build in costs for appliance replacement, those types of things. And then they are paid a percentage as we rent them out month to month. So they have a vested interest in making sure that the product that they set here can survive and will last and will be maintained by them in the village in collaboration over many years. So if we have a draft of round two questions that we want to give to sustainability partners, let them augment it. I think what we're looking for are the concerns that are unique to Angel Fire that we've talked about.
Right.
Snow loads, wind loads, do they have insulation packages that will work with us? Sustainability Partners is already going to be concerned with the interior finishes and how those hold up in a rental situation.
Okay.
So I think combining our questions with what they would ask, letting them do a due diligence and asking them for a response back to come give a presentation to then let you all chew through these now 4 vendors and see if any one of those 4 is an easy yes or an easy no to keep tailoring that list down. Because keep in mind, we would really like to be issuing orders for these units in the next couple of months. Again, back to our housing 2025. So we don't want this back and forth process to drag on for months and months.
Right.
So I would recommend you give them the list of vendors and your initial deal breaker questions, and then have them prepare to come give a presentation to this committee to do that next cut down to either 1 vendor or 2 and
Mhm.
continue on.
I like that idea. So I think we had our list of questions that we had already talked about. We did that through email. Let me pull that up. It was the snow loads, it was the heating, whether it needed concrete foundation, what was their insulation, what was their delivery time?
And cost.
And well, yeah, and then the cost models, do we feel like that would come as part of this? Because it is gonna be important. It'd be all great if they meet all these wonderful things, but then their cost is like $400 a square foot. That's not gonna work against. So I feel like we need some square footage proposal for there as well.
Well, maybe. So let me give you a hypothetical. The numbers preliminary that I have seen come back from Champion was the only vendor I've seen pricing back from.
Right.
And forgive me if I'm off, but my recollection was a 3-bedroom home. Now that's just the home, not the site, not the foundation, was about $140,000 from Champion.
Yeah.
The 2-bedroom home was about $130,000. So there's a very real question as to,
Mhm.
for a $10,000 difference, should we be considering the 2-bedroom homes or should we set all 3-bedroom homes there?
I see.
And different vendors are going to have different sweet spots from a square footage and a cost perspective. So we'd really like for these vendors to play to their strengths. What are you best at? If they have optimized the heck out of a footprint and their costs are great on it, well, great, that's the one we want to see.
Mhm.
So I don't think it would necessarily be in our interest to hyper focus before the vendor evaluation.
Mhm.
Tell them we're looking at, 3 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms for sure. But if you have a 1-bedroom efficiency that, let's say that Modular Home Solutions has a really, really awesome 1-bedroom, 1-bath, well, then it should be considered. So I wouldn't tailor the question so specific to say, hey, we need this very specific response from you. Let those vendors tell us what they're best at, and let sustainability partners come back and present that evaluation to you guys to get to that next step.
Yeah, and,
Can I, Jake?
Yes.
You were doing site visits, weren't you, on specific?
I have not. Sustainability Partners goes to the vendor site and visits those. I know they did for Champion. Now, they actually went to their Phoenix facility because Sustainability Partners has a large presence in Phoenix, and so it was easy for them to send people, hey, just go down the road and do a site visit. So I know it's part of their required package to vet a vendor, and so if we give them 4, they're gonna start that process of vetting all of those.
the one thing I wanted to say about setting all 3 bedrooms, my only concern about that is that then you're kind of tying like people who maybe are single into roommates
Right.
and not giving them the option of having a 1-bedroom or, a 2-bedroom with so it makes sense probably from the square footage, but maybe not from the renter themselves.
I agree, because we're gonna have a lot of single people.
Yeah.
It does, but one thing that is possible with some of these vendors is if you're buying a large number of units, they will tailor the footprint somewhat for you, or some of them can.
Mhm.
So if we ended up with a 3-bedroom that was laid out in such a way with a common area, bedroom, some 3 bedrooms are gonna lend themselves to roommates better than others.
Mhm.
It also may be that one of the vendors comes back and has an awesome 2-bedroom solution that prices out, or an awesome 1-bedroom solution that prices out, but we don't know that yet.
Right,
So those are the things we've got to ask them so that we get the best presentation back from all 4 of these vendors. Like, what are you good at? And do you have an option
Mhm.
that hits what you want? I agree. It would be great to find some 1-bedrooms, but if we can find a bunch of 3 bedrooms that work and then consider a phase 2 project that is focused on the 1-bedrooms, that may be a more realistic solution.
Okay, so the questions that we had were.
Sure. Quick, I was just gonna, back to previous point, I was gonna say, I have toured the Champion plant in
Mhm.
Mansfield, Texas. And I will be touring the facility in Roswell,
Okay,
soon, so I can give you some firsthand feedback on those. And then real quick too, back to the home selection of footprints.
Mhm.
We met with the engineer yesterday that's designing, that's doing all the civil work on the 4.5 acres, 1.25 acres behind us. And it's become pretty apparent that the sooner we can identify what models we're purchasing,
Mhm.
the better for their layout, because depending on how these units lay out, the sizes and so forth,
Mhm.
they can tailor that plan better
Okay,
and more efficiently.
okay. So, yeah, sure, I mean, and especially with Champion and Clayton. They've already been, I mean, I think we can get some good, quick information back from them. I still would like to see these others. But, if we're looking, but if that's gonna matter, that may, get it down even narrower the next
It's a
round.
factor.
Well, it's the timeline, right? We don't want to delay 3 months picking the perfect footprint, and then now the civil engineering is pushed off 3 months later, so.
We don't really wanna do that, right?
Right, or it doesn't work with that footprint, so.
Well, we can go forward with these 4 and we can certainly ask sustainability if, are you gonna be able to evaluate these within our time frame? And if they say, well, we can do the one in Roswell, but maybe not the one in Phoenix for this phase, then, I mean, that will factor into it as well.
Well, and I think we could easily ask them to get footprints and pricing, so we can at least do that evaluation.
Mhm.
And if it's gonna take them another 3 weeks before they can do their on-site site visit, will give us the information that we need now to figure out if,
Mhm.
you know, there's gonna be an obvious good answer here or an obvious bad answer, like, hey, this one, you know, the footprints are this wide only and the delivery costs are high, and so that's gonna push it out, so.
Okay.
The sooner we can get to that elimination process and have 1 or 2 footprints to be evaluating, because then we're gonna have to talk about, can we tweak footprints? You know, interior package upgrades, colors, all of the other detail work is gonna come later.
Mhm. Okay. So the questions that we had were snow load specifications, insulation specifications, heat source options, foundation requirements, turnkey time. Are there any special certifications such as Energy Star, Energy Wise, whatever, state license numbers, like their general contractor, et cetera, and delivery cost, which I think we can, and deliver to small mountain towns, which I think with those questions, along with the suggestions from Rocky with this, the modular home specification sheets and the Colfax County requirements, making sure that they're like, are your units in compliance with this, or, you know, that kind of thing. I think that's good. And then I do like the footprints and the pricing, and what do you do best? What's your most popular? What is your fastest, best?
Yeah.
I think those are the, and what can you do in, well, and the turnkey time. So I think those are the good. So if we can kind of summarize those and give that to sustainability partners, and then they can blend that like you suggested with theirs, that should get us there.
So is that list of questions one you all can agree to give Rocky to let him start pushing through the process?
Yes,
I see head shaking, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'll combine it with what
okay.
Is there a maximum square footage based on the draw of the layout?
Is there a maximum square footage?
Yeah.
I have a sheet if you like. to.
Oh, sure.
Clerk has a sheet that she can put
I
up
was
there.
waiting on the green light. Am I good?
Yes, go ahead.
This is a draft, okay?
Okay.
And this is the latest drawing. So they have these here are the different sites of the different placements of homes. Okay, and they're A or B. So A size is 14 by 52. They're recommending, I guess, as a unit. The pad is 16 by 54. And the size B dimension is 16 by 66.
Okay,
And this is 30 homes
okay.
with 46 parking spots.
And does this, I thought that this now includes the redesigned with curb, road, all that stuff?
So the road coming into the property
Mhm.
from 434 is not curb and gutter,
Okay,
but this is.
okay,
And there's adequate drainage, just bar ditches there. These are detention ponds here and here, in other words, that select the water. This is the low spot of the property.
okay.
One thing too, I would be interested in the committee's feedback. I like the way that they tried to lay it out, so it doesn't look like
Military barracks?
exactly a man camp, your
Right.
standard mobile home park, but I will say. One of the challenges I see. Especially in these scenarios. Because these aren't subdivided and there's clear property boundaries,
Mm-hmm,
is having how we determine. Who has right to what space.
okay,
Number one, and number two, this also, depending on how these homes are laid out, in other words, entry points, windows, that sort of thing. In other words, I don't see this one just looking right at the back of this one,
right,
or any of those for that matter. So again, the style of the house, how it lays out into this. But they were able to keep 30, this has 30 units. And also still has 2 public park spaces as
Okay.
well. This could change to add some more parking, because right now we don't even have 2 spaces per unit. And I felt like that was probably gonna be a minimum.
Okay.
That would be needed. Yes. Especially at that size. So there's just some things to consider. This isn't set in stone. This was their first
First
stab
pass.
at it, and they
Okay.
have a few changes that they're gonna be working on, but I think there's the more information this committee can provide, the better they can.
And what is
plan.
on the road coming in, that rectangle with the boxes?
That's parking maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah, these are all parking. This,
okay.
parking.
Just, are those covered parking or
Yeah,
Yeah, just in case.
just spaces?
Concrete or, I mean,
everything shown right now is asphalt.
asphalt, okay.
It is
That-
asphalt, curb
okay.
and gutter on the cul-de-sac, but not the entry.
Yeah, because I think the one thing they'll have to consider is some people are gonna have pets most likely, and so they're gonna want a little,
Exactly.
some,
We just gotta have that discussion with them as well.
okay,
These little parks, yeah.
Yeah, kids, their own little swing set or something like that, just doesn't have a place where they can play.
Well, and again, I think the sooner you can get to the size of these hypothetical boxes,
mhm,
because these are based on one vendor, they're not based on all of them,
right,
this is gonna get tweaked. So,
yeah,
And,
because
and they
14 by
may,
52 is pretty skinny.
Yeah,
That's,
720 square feet.
and there's also a reason why mobile home parks look a lot alike, because it's the most efficient.
mhm,
So, and again, we wanna create a neighborhood. The goal that we've set forth to the engineers is, something you would like to live in.
right,
So we wanted to have a sense of community parks and green space and pathways and so on, but at the same time, we gotta keep efficiency in mind.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, like on the end of the cul-de-sac, I would have laid it out more like, like a,
Exactly, I kinda saw the same thing, and it's not too late, but
Right.
again, based on the.
on the pad
on
sites.
The homes, the
Yeah.
pad sites.
Okay,
Now, this diagram I did include on your meeting invitation, so you do have it, on
okay.
your outlook.
Okay. All right, so any other thoughts on vendor matrix questions discussion number 2? I do like the idea that, Sustainability Partners has their own list of vetting, which helps us, makes sense to use them as well. Okay. All right, lottery process, that was related more to, we only have 7 minutes, and that was really Megan's go-to. She talked a little bit about last time. I think we need to table it. But this, for people who aren't aware, this is the process of like, we feel like we're gonna get more applications than housing units, and so this would be the way to manage those. And a lot of the communities who do provide workforce housing already have work lottery processes in place. So we would, build on some examples from that, but we'll have to table that because I don't know that I didn't have any additional information on that. So. All right, and then property management. Maya, do you have anything you want to add? That was kind of your go-to to look at the local, find out what the local companies were.
Yes, and I've done nothing with that. The last 2 weeks have been busier than I thought they'd be, but I will get working on that and have an update for the next meeting.
Okay.
I would say that my experience with running employee housing at the resort is that it is a lot of work. Now we do have seasonal employees that come in and out, but I have appreciated having an employee on staff that's just dedicated to doing that. And I would think that would be the best way to have a village employee doing that. Would just be my opinion. But I will vet the property management companies as well and see what I come up with there.
Okay, and then sustainability partners, how, if they were our financing and they were doing how does that play into?
So you need to think of them mostly as a bank, essentially.
Okay.
That's what their role looks like in this, and they are on the hook for the units themselves. They are not going to be the property manager, but I will say there's some time on this, just like we have the governance document that is still in legal, and just a brief update there. I actually bumped that one back a little ways. For those of you that saw the village meeting the other day, we recently passed our defensible space ordinance. So we're kind of shuffling work product coming back from the attorney with what we need first. And the governance, the lottery, the property manager is all great stuff. But what we really need to be focused on right now is getting through the design, getting through the housing vendor so we can keep that timeline moving along. So I feel like there's still plenty of time through the spring, even early summer, to do these items, the governance, the lottery, and the property management stuff.
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Let's stay focused on the housing vendor selection, because it's what's gonna be the next holdup for us.
Okay. Okay, what we don't have on here on the agenda, but we always need to do is our action items and our setting our next meeting date. So, in terms of our next actions, obviously, we've given Rocky, you've got the questions. Do I need to send them to you via email?
Yes.
Okay,
I might suggest, just in the interest of picking a day now, let's let Rocky go through the paces with sustainability partners and
Okay.
see what a realistic timeline for them to come back to us. Even if it's not with a full presentation, they may want to come back in a week or two and say, hey, we have some information that we want to present to you that's preliminary to
Okay.
let you guys respond to. So Rocky, if you're okay with that.
I am. I was just gonna say that hopefully we'll be prepared to meet the next week rather than wait 2 weeks.
okay.
Is that?
Yeah, that's
something that
fine.
This committee can do? Okay,
I'm out,
in case they can respond quick.
I'm out 13th through 23rd. That's kind of, but we have 2 weeks between now and then a week at the end of the month. So yeah, anytime during that 2 weeks, as if you want to set a tentative, maybe Ileana can check the schedule for
I'm
us.
letting you know. Go
Okay.
ahead.
If you wanted to do a week, that would be like next Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5th or 6th. What do I have on that?
I can't do the 6th.
Okay,
The other thing you might consider, and I'm not trying to push it, I don't really prefer the Zoom meetings, but I know, having had lots of conversations with Ryan, he masked Sustainability Partners, he's in Albuquerque.
Mhm.
So if a Zoom meeting where he can come present findings to you, I know that's not, but it may be easier to do that quickly versus getting you all here in person.
that's fine too.
Yeah, I'm fine with Zoom anytime.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think everything, but I'm hearing the 6th may not work for Lori. We'll just find out what sustainability.
Find out sustainability
Okay.
partners.
And the 6th is open if we needed to have a meeting.
Yes, the 6th is open,
And I'm happy to do Zoom meeting too if we needed to.
with the exception of 4 o'clock, from 4 to 5:30, it's blocked.
Okay, well,
Can you do the 5th?
I won't be able to make the 6th. I'll be
okay,
in.
5th, I'm sorry, yes, 5th is what I was trying
He can't do the 6th.
to. 5th, sorry, that's what I meant to be looking at.
Oh, the 5th?
Yeah,
Can you guys do the morning around,
No, this
No.
committee pretty much always meets, many of them work, so they're.
It's
so
pretty much
5:30
always
is your
meet.
standard time?
Yeah.
Okay, 5:30 is fine.
okay. So we can kind of tentatively plan for 5:30 on the 5th.
Any day maybe? Okay.
I'll be able to make it if that's okay. I'll be out of town. I'll be out of
Okay.
town for the 6th.
Okay,
I can do Zoom.
you can do a Zoom, okay. That's fine, I think we can do Zoom I'm fine with that unless we need to be in person.
No, I think that whatever gets us to the decision points quicker, and so let's
Mhm.
let Rocky jump on this and see what the dates can be is what we need to do.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so that's one action item. The second action item is just getting the questions with them. Is there anything else that we had as an action item coming out of here?
The other ones are the things for Meg and for Maya, which again are totally fine if
Right.
you don't have that. I don't think that needs to be for the next meeting. That
Right.
can be down the road, so you got time there.
I agree. Okay. And then I guess I get one other item though. We do need to, let's visit on our own time, and we can talk about it at the Zoom, maybe as the first item, or maybe the last item, I don't care, is the results of the surveys. I think Brett pushed again to try to get more results, only just see if, what the mix of units is that people have said they wanted.
Okay.
An actual count, let's say, okay, we want it, so we can kind of say, okay, we want 6 3-bedrooms and 15 2-bedrooms and maybe 5 1-bed, something like that, so that we can kind of move forward with that, see what we've got. That sound good? Okay, so maybe right before our meeting, we can pull those results and I can do a summary, or one of us can do a summary, and then we'll have that to discuss. Because that will also be important for sustainability as well.
Yep.
Okay. All right, anything else? All right, then meeting adjourned. Thank you.